Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. The Season 2 roadmap is now out alongside a trailer for the Tomb, or a teaser for the Tomb, and we've got info on the new wonder weapon coming in the map and a whole bunch more. So let's go through the new blog post now and some of the new gameplay that we've got, break it all down, see what the deal is, and also, I'm traveling right now. I'm actually in New York. I've got no idea if you can actually see out of that window, but it's New York City, baby! So let's break down the blog post. It starts off saying Season 2 arrived next week, upending the new Order of Avalon, engaged with a massive amount of new content, including 5 MP maps, 6 new weapons, a new zombies map, limited time Valentine's Day themed modes, and more. All right, so let's just scroll down a little bit to the stuff that we want to see. Yeah, okay, we could focus a bit on the fact that Sev is toasting a new era of Avalon, that sort of MP story, but I did a video on Sev's backstory and nobody cared. It's one of my worst performing videos in a long time, actually. And just based on that, I'm guessing that you guys don't really care about Sev, so I'm just going to skip past a lot of this seasonal storytelling stuff here. We can cover that in a separate video if there's a request to do it. But this is the roadmap itself. And for the zombies section, we've got the Tomb, as expected. We've got the wonder weapon in there, which, again, I'm still not a huge fan of them putting wonder weapons and stuff in a roadmap in this way, because it doesn't feel like that is a separate piece of content to the map to me. Sure, Death Perception, the War Machine, new augments, new rewards, those things all thumbs up, like positive on all of those. New gobbles as well. Directed mode for the Tomb, it's like, yeah, I mean, okay. But if that's all we're getting at the in-season point, like a month in, then that's actually like maybe a little sparse. But still, let's not sort of judge a book by its cover. Let's scroll down a little bit more and see what else we've got in here. So there's MP stuff, as I said, several new maps coming. Some of them are in season, some of them are at launch. There's some multiplayer mode stuff. All right, get me to the zombies. Come up, zombies, there we go. So there's this content summary talking about the Tomb, which says, cursed catacombs guard a gateway to the dark ether. Follow in the footsteps of a doomed explorer, that'll be Archibald, as your search for the fabled Sentinel artifact continues. The way that they've written this makes me think we're not going to get the Sentinel artifact in this map, which is going to really feel like big blue balls, big time. Like if we don't get it now, we're then going to have to wait maybe 3 months or something for the next zombies map, or maybe 2 months. And that's already an extra couple of months that we waited for Citadel to come out from when we first learned about the Sentinel artifact being a kind of target of our hunt. So it's turning into a bit of a wild goose chase. But again, let's not judge a book by its cover. There's additional gameplay content. Keep all threats in sight with the addition of Death Perception, including new augments to research to further enhance its abilities. Hold on. So does that mean that in the roadmap here, does that mean that the new augments are just augments for Death Perception? And if that is the case, I don't like that at all. I really think that a perk would be assumed to be releasing with augments. Like, it basically can't release without augments. So in my brain, it should just be a single cell in the roadmap, right? Like, I get that they've got to fill it out and make it look like there's more stuff. But at the same time, I would just prefer it if they called a spade. And if it's just a new perk, and that new perk does have augments, because all perks have augments, then just leave it at that. Like, we're not stupid, right? But again, it's fine. There's 3 new gobbles and the mighty War Machine. Okay, War Machine recycled from the previous games, fine. And then there's new enemies, wonder weapons, and more. Face off against the electrifying shock mimic, wield the deadly staff of ice, utilize a new type of player-controlled hazard with etheric lanterns. Okay, you have my interest. And pierce your enemies with the arrow trap. Bit weird to be calling out a trap like it's a new, I don't know, that's a little strange. Quality of life updates, other things that we've already heard about, co-op pause, challenge tracking, bespoke HUD preset, and more. So let's talk about the Tomb, and we'll watch the gameplay for this in a moment here. So following the events of Citadel Day More, Weaver, Maya, Carver, and Grey take the amulet secured at the Citadel to a cursed dig site and the ancient catacombs within. Professor Kraft indicated that the elusive Sentinel artifact may be found in the tunnels below. Let's freaking hope. Reports of paranormal phenomena go back centuries, possibly related to the presence of the artifact. If the team can secure it, there may yet be hope in releasing Samantha Maxis from her imprisonment in the dark ether. And we've got this image, which looks really cool. I'm going to be honest, the fact that they're blending the sort of dark E3 mushroomy, jellyfishy kind of vibes that we started to see with D Machine, with the modern version of what the Dark Ether looks like that we saw, for example, in the Church in Liberty Falls, and also saw a fair bit in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, is cool. That is really cool to me. And I look forward to that dark E3 space being a bit bigger than just that church was. Because, yeah, it was cool being in there, but it was so confined. And I don't want the peak version of exploring the Dark Aether to be in Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. So it's really cool to see that that is entering some Treyarch stuff now, despite the fact that they did have an influence on Modern Warfare 3, I know. But yeah, if we scroll down here, and also actually just before I do so, that old-ass sage-looking zombie, the wise man, is pretty damn cool. I like the new design there. So, in the enthralling new adventure, follow in the footsteps of Archibald and explore the long-forgotten dig site. It's coming out at the start of Season 2 on January 28th, and it's a Tuesday, which is a little weird. I feel like these seasons normally drop on Wednesdays. Am I wrong? I might be mistaken, but I feel like that's the case. So it's a little bit of a weird release date, and it's 9 a.m. PT, not 10 a.m., just so that everybody's clear on that. Here's Sir Archibald. A shiny halfpenny to the lucky blighter who finds that door first. Okay, so they're introducing us to the crew again, and they've shown us Archibald already, and he's in the amulet. That's interesting. That's something that I would have much rather learned in the map. Also, this black square makes me think that maybe there's another character that's going to be revealed, potentially. But I'd have much rather that be an in-map discovery rather than now. But still, let's see what they have to say. You'll need all the guidance you can get to navigate the dark and dusty passages of the cursed catacombs within this Romanesque dig site. Aiding you on the adventure is Sam, Ravenov, Peck, as well as Raptor 1 and the increasingly erratic Strauss. Adding to the oddities are reports of audible anomalies in the form of echoes of a former British explorer who led an ill-fated 1908 expedition into the earthworks. So this is interesting because this makes it sound like this isn't the amulet. Maybe I'm mistaking this structure for something else, and it's not the amulet at all. Maybe it's some kind of mirror. It just has this sort of amulet vibe in the center of it. So not sure exactly what's happening there, which is good. I would rather not know. Let's keep going. Bolster your knowledge of the tomb before attempting to survive its many dangers with this abridged and narrative-focused overview. No! No. Don't do this. Don't do this. What of the tomb's many secrets? These are left for you to discover? Well, they're not. If you're just I hate this. God damn it. Okay, Treyarch. I really liked in the post last week where you guys showed the map through little photographs that were taken to the site, and they felt like they were in universe, and they just felt like teeny tiny teasers, and you couldn't make out much. By just photographing the map in this way, what do you achieve? I think nothing. I think all you achieve is you reduce the mystique and the aura and well, let's not use aura because that has such a different connotation in zombies now, but you really, really erode the mystique of the map. And when increasingly these maps are consumed at a breakneck pace, right, as we're all aware is happening more and more every single year, if you show us in detail like this, screenshots of the entire map, it feels like we've been in the spaces already, and there's no need for us to feel like we've already been in the map a week before release. That may as well happen on release. Like, this means that on release now, I'm going to do a first playthrough of the map. I'm going to look at what is in front of me, and I'm going to go, oh yeah, I saw that last week in a blog post. Like, the blog post showed me that first. Why should the blog post be the sort of pinnacle aha moment of discovering the beauty of the map that your devs have spent so long trying to create? Why would it be better in the blog post than in person, right? In the flesh. Like, why separate those things? It just feels weird to me. Do an in-canon, in-universe teaser? Absolutely. Do a trailer? Absolutely. But to just sort of walk through all the spaces like this is just boring. And I don't want to see this now. Like, I want to walk into the map for the first time and be like, oh my God, there's a statue of that person there? I'm just going to get that in the blog post now. Okay, I'm ranting a little bit, but I really dislike the way that they do this, to be honest. And it's awkward as well because for me as a content creator, if the information is out there, I've kind of got to present it to the people, right? There's not so much room for me to just sort of sit back and be like, well, let's just scroll past this stuff. People would be like, what the hell are you doing, Milo? And similarly, like people that are going to be doing the Easter egg hunt, for example, and racing to get worlds first, they don't really have a chance to just scroll past this stuff because, again, this stuff could end up being helpful in some capacity for those initial couple of matches for the Easter egg to get solved in the first sort of 5-6 hours of gameplay. So it's Treyarch's job to mediate here and be like, okay, realistically, it would be better for you guys to have a fresher perspective going in, and it would therefore be better for us to not just sort of info dump in the blog post in this way. I'm just not a fan of it. I really don't like this approach. Feel free to disagree with me in the comment section. If you guys have an alternate opinion, I'd love to hear it. But just for me, man, it's something that I continuously am frustrated by, and I want to just make sure that I keep that frustration being heard so that Treyarch can hopefully change their ways in the future and act on the feedback that they're receiving. But again, let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. So I'm going to get up close and personal here and take a look. All right, we've got an armor wall by and the armor station, which we've already seen. We actually have already seen this sort of screenshot in quite a lot of detail. There's this door, which looks really cool, and I love the fact that they've got the sort of concentric circle pattern coming back from Origins, right? I mean, it's been elsewhere too, but that's really cool to see. I also think it's cool that we've got a bit of a better look inside this thing. So we could see before that it looked like there was some sort of gold or bronze bulls in there, and we do now have a clearer shot of those, so that's nice. I'm a fan of that. So I guess it's interesting to see that a little bit up close and personal here, a little bit more detailed, and you continue to have the owl buried or half buried in the sort of what I presume is spawn area. There's the door also. So yeah, like we know where we're going now. The intrigue is so much more reduced. One thing I will say in their favor is that they have got this purple thing in the spawn, but it's very, very difficult to see. It might just be a purple ether crystal down there. It might be something more, but I like the fact that we're not sort of zooming in on that. So that's, I guess, positive at least. It says the surface level dig site is your entryway to the rest of the map. Again, why are we explaining this? Strange glowing runes mark certain alcoves, perhaps gateways to the subterranean regions beyond. A large, partially uncovered stone face lies at the pit of the site, roped off and long forgotten, a nearby fallen pillar. Don't linger too long, lest you end up like the headless statue on the upper tiers of this archaeological area. Neolithic catacombs and ossuary. This is a pretty cool looking structure. I mean, yeah, looks nice. I like the fact that you've got that door kind of illuminating the area there as well. I also really like the lighting. I think the lighting team have done a really good job here. I am a big fan of sort of more moody, dramatic lighting and just stuff that's a bit more striking, right? I think that it's quite easy in zombies to have everything looking pretty similar, like everything being quite evenly lit. It's a dangerous trap to fall into, but it looks like we're not really getting that so much in this map, which I really like, and that's going to fit its tone really well. It is interesting, though. There is so much natural light from above, and I do wonder if that's going to be useful for like a fast travel type situation, or if it's going to be something where we can, I don't know, for example, use that as part of the Easter egg to kind of like communicate with the gods up there or something. Like, I don't know, but something like that would be cool, especially if the sun did sort of revolve around, like if the shadow actually changed position based on there being a day-night cycle, which would be very weird. But if it did, that could be really cool to sort of line up the beam from above, similar to what you sort of see in pyramids and stuff like that. Like, I think that would be a really cool vibe. So in the Neolithic catacombs, you may notice how far back the area goes, both physically as well as through layers of ancient cultures and civilizations. Cave paintings adorn the cavernous walls, while winding pathways lead through the natural hollows of the earth. In the ossuary, stacked with the skulls of the long dead, the cavern gives way to the stone architecture of a later age, its bone piles and altars lending an ominous presence throughout. Now, I will say, if the Treyarch team have managed in this map to break out of some of the restrictions that they've struggled with in previous Black Ops 6 Zombies maps, in that the map is aesthetically not just beautiful, but also dripping in stuff that is very clearly narrative driven, then I will be a very happy man. Because we've had this issue, I think, in Black Ops 6 in a big way, where you're sort of exploring these spaces, but there's not actually a huge amount in the space itself for you to look at and be like, wow, what is that? Like the old Zombies maps, World at War era, Black Ops 1 era, they did that so well, and they've kind of lost that vibe in Black Ops 6, and I think it's because the art team and the narrative team are working on completely different schedules, and they don't really have an opportunity to just sort of like throw really niche, weird little Easter eggs and scrawlings and things in the maps that aren't just like physical Easter eggs that are sort of scripted events, right? I'd really love to see more of that, and I'm hopeful that if they're going to be blending different civilizations and cultures here, which sounds like what they're doing, we can do so in such a way where those cultures mean something for the story, and it's worth sitting down and combing through all that stuff so that we can learn more about XYZ, blah, blah, blah. This wall writing has some actual meaning instead of just feeling like a scroll that means nothing. Like, those sorts of things would be really awesome. So this is kind of cool. I'm optimistic. Then you've got the tombs, and I mean, that looks very Caesar to me. Am I crazy, or do we think that that's Caesar? You've got another one of these portals here. There's Death Perception Park next to this dude. And some of the kind of upper Toomey areas here, it's kind of reminding me of Der Eisendrache in the Undercroft, stuff like that. I also think that this art's quite interesting. I'm wondering, are we going to fight a bull as the boss? That would be pretty sick. Like, that would be a pretty cool boss. Be a shame if it was already being foreshadowed here, to be honest, but that would be pretty cool. And there's interestingly this like little wispy thing down here. I don't know what the deal is with that. Is that a tree that is growing? Is it like a vine that's growing out of one of the rocks? Because there's not a lot of other living stuff. Look, it's there as well. I feel like that's going to have some significance too. And also, that's a green... Is that a Tanto? And if that's a green Tanto there, that means that you can probably get here pretty fast. It's not like we're sort of in the depths of the map at this point. This is still pretty close to the surface by the looks of things. Statues of ancient warriors line the tombs and alcoves along the walls, along with the depictions of shielded hoplites engaging a charging bull. Though the vault has long crumbled into disarray, the remnants of pristine architecture are on clear display, illuminated through the patch of sunlight falling through a crumbled hole in the ceiling. Then you've got the Shrine of the Hierophants. There's this structure thing in the middle, sort of like a ritual altar or something, right next to Stamina. It's so funny how Stamina just doesn't fit in here at all. Like, the rest of the vibe is so ancient, and then you've just got these modern machines. It's quite a funny contrast. But yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm curious. We've also got... Wow, a crafting bench. There's, I guess, arrow traps. That's probably what we're seeing there. So those are going to just fire at the zombies from the side. Classic kind of booby trap. You've got the sort of outer walkway area here as well. And that's where the crafting bench is. And there's this big lantern thing in the middle. So is that the etheric lantern, or is the etheric lantern somewhere else? It says, ancient priests charged with interpreting the sacred mysteries. The Hierophants seem to have uncovered more than they were bargaining for. The candlelit vaulted ceiling marks the resting place of important figures, a frieze sculpted into the wall showing a fierce battle between opposing forces. Arrow trap installations line the stairway down into the shrine, flanked by skulls on chain pulleys. Then you have the subterranean temple and deep excavation. So again, there's another one of those little bits of twiggy things. So that's definitely going to be a thing that we have to interact with in the map in some capacity. It also looks like Quick Revive is down there, and Tier 3 armor as well. They really are putting Quick in more perilous locations in this game, it seems. So yeah, the underground, I mean, it looks gorgeous. What can I say? It looks really cool. You've got multiple of those little vine thingies. You've got another one of those sort of central altar thingies. Looks like the concentric circles down here as well are a kind of repeat of this pattern that we're seeing here, that we also obviously saw on the door. So I'm liking that vibe. I'm liking that aesthetic. That's very cool. I also like, oh, you got the purple altar thing here too. So there's a crystal on the altar. It's kind of giving Shadows of Evil boss fight room, right? Like a little bit. But yeah, I really do like the overall design of this area. I think that we've really not had enough of this kind of stuff in zombies to date. So I'm definitely a big fan of the aesthetic that they're going for here. It says, descend into the catacombs to reveal the huge cavernous subterranean temple where the stone architecture leads downward to a rocky outcropping peninsula known as the Deep Excavation. Scattered pillars encircle a place of worship below, the murky depths illuminated via faint shafts of what appears to be sunlight entering from a natural space in the rock above. What appears to be sunlight? That's a weird thing to call out. Is it not sunlight? Is it something else? That's interesting. I'm gonna have to chew on that statement. Doorway to Nowhere and Dark Aether Nexus. I mean, come on. This looks gorgeous. I do wish that I was seeing it for the first time when I was playing the map for the first time, not having it sort of spoiled now, but c'est la vie. It looks really freaking cool, man. That skybox is hitting. I love these pointy pillars that they've got going on. I love these. These are back from the Liberty Falls Church. This temple looking thing is so interesting to me. Like, I really love the aesthetic there. It looks like some kind of Stargate. Like, oh, and that's where Jug is too. Huh. Okay, that's interesting. So we're going to really have to push all the newbies into this area in order to get them their precious jug. And there's also a weird sort of, I don't know if that's a vine symbol or if that's like a bug on there. Are these going to be animals that are going to be rotating around there or something else? But yeah, that's sick. I really love the aesthetic they've achieved here. I think it looks really awesome. Again, I really hope that we get to that space and there's stuff to look at and interpret beyond just the artists created a nice pattern on the walls, right? But again, that's going to be a TBD based on how the map looks, I think. And there's also this big ass crystal in the sky. I wonder if we have to like shoot that down or something. Maybe start a ritual here and that's what heals the rock or something like that. Who knows? Oh, okay. Good. The explanation here is all redacted. That is good, to be honest. I'm very glad. Take your expedition deeper still, seek out the doorway to nowhere, and nothing. Good. thank you, Treyarch. I'm really glad that they haven't overshared in that area specifically. I think it's a little bit of an overshare in these areas, but at the end of the day, if the bulk of the gameplay is happening in the Doorway to Nowhere, for example, then I'm not really that mad that they're showing the sort of less interesting stuff there and then saving the more interesting stuff for the map itself. Like, that's better. Still might have been better if there were no sort of expository pictures like this, but still, this is positive, so I'm calling out positives when they're positive. There's also a new enemy. It's the Shock Mimic. Calling this new is a little bit generous because it's not new. It's just new to Black Ops 6. And granted, to be fair, it is a different sort of take on its design a little bit, but it says, often disguising themselves as useful items, these shocking creatures break out of the illusion on approach, grabbing victims with their tentacles and razor-sharp claws, pulling them in for an electrifying bite. This hits harder than expected, and the distortion camouflage the Shock Mimic emits disrupts your radar as well as your eyesight. And yeah, I mean, it's a reused enemy type, right? At the end of the day, that is what it is. We've got to call a spade a spade. It is a reused enemy type. And I think that we'll talk about this a little bit more once we get to the gameplay, but overall, I would rather not be seeing reused enemies so much in Call of Duty Zombies, and I'd rather just be seeing new stuff. But again, if it feels really materially different when we play, then maybe I don't mind as much, but still, it's a reused enemy. It's recycled. Okay, fine. Also, this screenshot, look at this dude. I like the fact that they've given some of them sort of armor, like old medieval armor in this way. I think that is really cool. The inhabitants of the tomb represent a swathe of laborers, worshippers, and armored guards from eons past, heavily rotted, some mummified, and many with a more skeletal appearance than previously encountered undead. Alongside the familiar enemies you're bound to encounter throughout, these ancient undead reveal the importance of the site. What they were digging up, and perhaps more ominously, who or what they came to worship, remains to be discovered. Okay, cool. Yeah, I really do like the new zombie designs here. I think that it's very easy, again, for zombies in the modern era in maps like Terminus and Liberty to sort of just feel like, okay, it's just another modern zombie. But these guys really do look like they're from a complete other world, and I really, really love that. And then there's this. And they've just revealed the wonder weapon in the blog. All right, it's a sick screenshot. I'm not gonna lie. That's a very, very cool shot, but I would have preferred this to not be in here, but it is what it is. This masterpiece of ancient technology fires a withering blast of frost and can generate healing energies to resuscitate allies from a distance. Cool. Origins unknown. Very tongue-in-cheek. Okay, very funny. Staff of Ice. That's what it looks like. Oh, you've got some interesting little Rooney boys on the side there. All right, I'm liking that. And it says it's the Staff of Ice X91 Ice Pike. Oh wait, no, that's a skin for it. Wow. Okay, that's so weird, but also that's pretty cool. So I like the fact that we're getting an alternate version of the staff as a quest reward. I think that's going to be really good motivation for people to do the quest. Is it for doing it early? We'll probably find out in a moment here. So rumors of a magical staff promise exceptional power to anyone who can get their hands on the devastating weapon. Known as the Staff of Ice, this offers an exceptional blast that can slow and freeze enemies in place, as well as a more devastating area of effect attack. The archaic wonder weapon is also imbued with the power to revive teammates with a precision shot restorative blast. Yeah, cool. As we'd expect, right? And that's actually all they say there? Are they going to come back to the quest reward? Okay, main quest and quest rewards. The main quest for the tomb goes live when the map releases alongside the launch of Season 2. Complete the main quest to earn the Wonder Weapon skin. Okay, so it's not for doing it early, it's just for doing it. It's a Project Janus facsimile of the Staff of Ice, as well as 5,000 XP and a unique calling card awarded to players who complete the main quest before directed mode is released. So, free directed mode, the only reason to do it sooner is still just the calling card and 5k XP. Treyarch, you've done a really good job with directed mode of getting your 3.4% or whatever it was of players who've done the Easter egg to transform into like 8% of players who've done the Easter egg or done an Easter egg. That is really good progress. But why on earth are we not incentivizing those people even more to do it sooner pre-directed? It's good that they're doing Easter eggs, but if they only ever stay in directed and they don't graduate to the regular experience a month earlier, that is not good for the mode. It's like you're creating an army of new people, right? Like you're bringing new babies into the world, raising them to toddler age, and then just saying, nope, stop there, right? You're not allowed to become a teenager. You're not allowed to become an adult. We're going to keep you just sort of in this directed playground that is much more kind of handheld, and you're not really going to be incentivized to become a true zombies player. I would like to see stuff like this have another further version or have an operator skin or whatever gated behind the early completion specifically to really motivate people to get it done. There is nothing that would be bad about doing that. There's literally nothing that is bad about that. It would only be net positive for the entire zombies community to pull in all of these new people and make them more serious zombies fans. Like, your zombies mode is clearly working this year. Back yourself. Get those people doing the quests. Like, I don't see why not, right? I don't think a calling card is enough. I don't think the majority of players give a damn about those calling cards, especially when they're so similar to their alternate variants. So that's my 2 cents on that. But I do like the skin. I think it's cool. And just having a reward for doing the quest is positive. That's something that we didn't have in the past necessarily. So there's still stuff to be positive about there, while also recognizing that I think that there's room for improvement here too. That's the arrow trap, I guess. You've got some more zombies. There's a lot of shots of the map in this blog post. God damn. Arrow trap. Got a horde of zombies on your back. Activate the arrow trap to send out darts of damaging energy from the wall, devastating its target on contact. If you need to backtrack, run and slide to avoid getting shot by your own trap. And then we've also got these etheric lanterns. So I guess that is the stuff that I was seeing, the little sort of windy vines. So dark ether chandeliers and light sources give off a pale glow over the surroundings. With the correct projectile and aiming confidence, you can use these dynamic hazards to rain down etheric fire, damaging anything that shambles through the flames. That sounds really cool. I like the idea of a trap of sorts actually requiring some skill and requiring some engagement and gameplay engagement from the player. I think that's awesome from a design perspective. That just makes my brain light up with like cool ways that we could interface with these with different strats and high round strats and hoarding strats and whatever. I'm a big fan. Design-wise, I think the team have cooked there. I just kind of wish that we weren't getting this spoiled now. Like, this could have been saved for the map, but I mean, go off, I guess. I enjoyed the mystery of not knowing what they were, and now I know what they are. It's just like, okay, zombies is about discovery. Why are you taking the discovery away? Okay. So, there's also going to be audio logs. Well, yeah, that's all well and good, but the audio, I'm pretty sure, or the intel, I should say, is still broken from Citadel. So if we could fix that, also, guys, while also introducing more intel in the future here, that would be really nice. There's going to be documents and artifacts and stuff to discover. Cool. So, access the following new content within the tomb as well as on Citadel, Terminus, and Liberty. You've got Death Perception. Returning since its original introduction in Black Ops 4, Death Perception gives the player ability to detect enemies through obstacles and walls via outlines on their bodies, plus new abilities for its Black Ops 6 debut. When navigating the tight confines of the tomb, there's no better perk for anticipating danger around the next corner. Research its augments to further empower it, and those augments are obviously listed here. They say that some of the perks are only available via the Wonder Fizz on the tomb, which is interesting, and it's going to be in the Wonder Fizz on those previous maps as well. So the augments are Treasure Hunter, spot items others can miss from loot containers, as well as special and elite kills. So that's weird. Why are we calling it items others can miss rather than just saying get extra loot? That seems like an odd way of putting that, but okay. Your elemental weakness damage has a chance to kill an enemy that's low on health. Okay, so is this sort of a response to the fact that they changed big game and people got really upset about it? Like, is that kind of what they're going for here? Where we could insta-kill those elites? I mean, it just says an enemy. It doesn't necessarily say an elite. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what that is there for, but it sounds pretty cool. That sounds like an interesting one to test for sure. And critical eye, small chance that a body shot becomes a critical shot. Oh, that's pretty cool as well. I like these. So far, these are good. These are good augments. They're intriguing to me. So that's a good thing. They're not just like dull recycles from other augments we've already seen. And then in the minors, the minimap scan rate is increased. Who is going to use that? But fine. Find extra essence under more locations. Oh, that's really cool. And then further insight, increase perception radius. This is fine just as like it makes the perk better. Fine. Good. Good to have like one of those maybe, I guess. I quite like this augment selection. I think that they're just interesting. Like, I want to get in game and experiment with them to see how I can integrate them into my builds. And that's exactly what augments should do, right? They should inspire me in that way. So that's positive. I like that. Then for gobbles, we've got Ragnarok. As expected, that one was leaked for a long time. We've got Modified Chaos and Dead Drop. Dead Drop means that drop rates of salvage and equipment are greatly increased and it lasts 5 minutes. Oh my god. Modified Chaos greatly reduces all ammo mod cooldowns and lasts 2 minutes. That's going to be fun. Those are fun gobbles. Gobbles. And then Ragnarok means that the zombies move around in rubber ducky tubes. Cool. Yes, I do like that a lot. I think that's a cool gobble. Then there's the War Machine 2. Yeah, whatever. And it also says directed mode and events here. For the explorers who need an extra hand in completing the main quest on the tomb, stay tuned for the arrival of directed mode, planned to arrive mid-season. Look for more announcements in the mid-season update, including a special limited time mode you won't want to miss. That's weird. Why have they got a limited time mode coming, but they're not mentioning on the roadmap? There's no zombies LTM on here. You could so easily have moved the new augments into the new perk, or you could have put the directed mode as like a little tab on the corner here, and then you could have had a thing here saying new LTM. I feel like that's a big deal. Why are they making it such a small deal? That's strange to me. LTMs that are actually good and meaningful, like if it's grief, for example, that would be a big thing for the zombies community. So I'm sort of surprised that they're being a bit secretive about it. But also at the same time, when I'm sitting here asking them to be more secretive about so much stuff and they're being secretive about something, I guess I can't be too bad about it. I'm confused. So cool. We'll see what that ends up looking like. But on the other hand, if it's just a branded thing, I'm not really interested. Don't give me another corporate tie-in. Nah, I'm good. Then in quality of life updates, there's the PPSH with Nebula. Yummy. We've got co-op pause, we've got AFK kick. We've seen these already. That's already news that we've already covered. There's also a bunch of new store offerings. Like there's all this sort of Black Cell stuff and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm curious. I covered a decent amount of this for season 1. Would you guys like me to do that for season 2 or no? I'm kind of torn. Promoting Call of Duty microtransactions in any way feels a little weird to me. On the one hand, this is my job, and you guys do really enjoy watching that content. There is always a lot of demand for it. But on the other hand, the game's been in a bit of a rough place, and I don't know. I just don't know. So let me know what you'd like me to do in that area. I'd really love some feedback in the comments on whether you'd like me to do skin showcases and Mastercraft showcases and all that sort of stuff. Oh my god, that is horrendous. That poor man has been de-aged so weirdly. And then we've got the trailer, and the gameplay here is fairly minimal, to be honest. I think that we're going to get a separate zombies trailer. It says Stalk the Horde here. That skin looks so weird on Weaver. Looks so strange. And I really like the Gladiator zombie. You've got the electric mimic in the background there. There's the staff, and I think that's pretty much it. And the reason I know that that's pretty much it is that they actually leaked this from the Taiwanese Call of Duty account maybe 10 hours early or something. And so everyone saw this on Twitter way before the blog post even came out. So if we just watch this again really slowly, just for a moment, so we can sort of unpack a couple of the details here. Yeah, you've got Dark Aether crystals all over the spawn area, a lot of new skins clearly for all the operators there, and what looks like a sort of zombie takedown happening, maybe? I mean, is that going to be something that we can do? Can we use zombies as body shields now? That would be pretty interesting. And I will say also, I am a fan of the fact that they're really not showing a crazy amount of the map in this. Like this, I think, is a good selection of things for them to showcase and show off. Also, the quality is ass, dude. I don't know why it's so bad. But the fact that we were just in the spawn there and it was clearly like early gameplay, and now, yes, they're down here and Doppelgasters are back, and we'll talk about that again in a second, but we're not seeing like a crazy overshare other than some of the boss enemies that are coming back. That is good. I mean, we're seeing the staff. At the end of the day, if you've got to show something, fine, show the staff, whatever. Green Tanto in the background there as well. So this is an area that you can get to pretty early, and you can presumably get the staff pretty early as well, maybe, unless they just got it out of the box or something. I don't know. We'll have to sort of dig in and figure that out a little bit more as just a bonus points there. I thought that might have been a new power-up, but no such luck. There is this purple glow in the background, though, just above this door there, and that's what the staff looks like in a melee. And again, looks pretty cool. There was that bull in the background, too. I like that you can do this little spinny inspect. You know, that's good that that's still possible. Ooh, I like the way it sort of opens up when it gets planted as well. That was sick. So yeah, I mean, the gameplay there, it's pretty minimal. I think that the main things to say are the staff looks cool. And if we just sort of take a moment here to talk about the staff and then we talk about the reused enemies, the staff is a reused wonder weapon. And at the end of the day, would I prefer there to be a new wonder weapon? Yes. Do I think that the staff looks cool regardless? Yes. I think that the redesign that they've done here is really nice. It looks really sharp. But I do think it puts them in a little bit of a tricky position. Basically, on the one hand, if the staff is redesigned in the way the jet gun was redesigned, I think it's going to feel a bit weird because the old staff was good, whereas the jet gun before, unless you were like a high round player, was kind of bad. Like people didn't really love the jet gun, and so to redesign it and take it from bad to being something that people really love and adore in this new game was a meaningful redesign. Like that was a really good change. Whereas now, if they've got something that's already good, are they just going to make it worse so that it's more interesting from a gameplay perspective because it was really good before? Or are they going to make it equally good or better? And if it is better, it's going to be so OP. Like you're just going to be able to spam it like crazy. So then are they going to do something like give it really low ammo so it's just annoying? Like I'm very curious to see where they land in that regard, because I think by picking something that is so beloved, they actually have made their life harder here instead of easier. So that's one thing I'm sort of interested about with the staff itself. Also, if it doesn't have an upgrade quest, like I don't want to just be able to pack up on shit. It needs an upgrade quest. If it doesn't have one of those, I'm going to be deeply disappointed. And yeah, I think that it would have been nice for it to just be a different weapon, a new weapon. That would have been cool. But why is that such a sort of big deal to me? Well, it's because we're also seeing so many other things getting reused. So this big fat Doppelgast, for example, coming back from Citadel, it's like, okay, in Citadel, if you really wanted to lean into that as a thing in that site, fine, whatever, right? But it's the fact that in this game, compared even to like Cold War, we have really, I would say, poor enemy variety. It feels like Treyarch's answer to making the game harder, which people ask for a lot in Cold War, is basically just boss spam. That seems to be the extent of the smart stuff that they've been able to do in the early to mid rounds. Like, I'm not talking high rounds. Some of the high round stuff is cool. Some of the way they've changed high rounds, that's cool. But early to mid rounds, mid to high rounds, like let's say up to 50, for example, for the players that are just doing that instead of really going for true high rounds, it just feels like a boss spam situation. And I'm not huge on that, and I'm even less huge on it when the bosses that are being spammed are mimics that we've already seen and doppelgangers that we've already seen. Like, I think it would be nice to mix things up a little bit there. It would have been cool if there were mummies in this map, right? Like, they've got mummified zombies. Make a mummified boss zombie. Make it something that is really custom to this and leave it here. Don't force it to be in every single other map that comes out in the future. And similarly, I want to speak to the sort of design idea that they keep going with, that, yeah, okay, we've got mutation in this game, right? We've got the bugs, the parasites, and then we've got this sort of transformation process that can happen. And it's sort of this question of like, okay, we've seen part of the evolutionary chain. Is that going to keep going further from the stuff that we've seen so far? Like, are we going to end up, for example, at the Blightfather I've seen like Stanley talking about on Twitter? Is that the end goal here? If so, I kind of understand that they want to bring these back so that they're present in our mind so we can see that evolution happen. But I think that that idea that they have of that cool evolutionary tree is kind of coming at the expense of gameplay experiences in the build up to the end of that evolutionary chain that should be more aesthetically based on the location that they're in. The doppelgangers being in this tomb doesn't feel right to me. This isn't an area of like high experimentation and science and stuff like that. It kind of feels like it fits more in those scenarios compared to where we're at in the tomb. I don't know. That's just sort of my perspective right now. So on the whole, would I like to see less reused stuff? Hell yeah. Like, it's good that we're getting new play spaces. There's certain other things that I'm like, okay, I would like this to be custom, but at the end of the day, I do think the map looks really cool. I think that there is a lot to really like here. I think that the aesthetic overall of the map is beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. And the story is finally going in a kind of interesting direction. And I also want to give them some credit here. This blog post overall, as much as I've criticized it for oversharing in certain areas, I think it's actually done a really, really good job. And this is important, positive feedback to give. I think it's done a good job of avoiding giving us too much story exposition. So if ultimately at the end of the day, they have to do these releases where they show us all the screenshots and stuff early, okay, so be it. If we can get to a place similar to where we've been in this blog post, where they avoid saying stuff like, here's a literal timeline of the events that happened in the map that you won't even be able to find in the map itself. You have to find them in the blog post. If we can avoid that stuff, and by avoiding it, we have to have a couple of these screenshots, that's a trade I'm willing to make. And that's what's happened here. So I want to give them some positive feedback that I really appreciate. They haven't overshared a crazy amount of detail about story specifically in these little sort of paragraphs. It's as close to a happy medium as I think they could have found for this particular post with this structure. So props to them for that. And yeah, I'm very excited to see the map release next week. And I'll obviously be covering it on my channel. Right now I'm in New York, like I said. Man, the view out there is so cool. I'm going to be doing, I don't know, maybe some IRL streams. I met Sam Lake yesterday. I was at the New York Video Game Awards. That was really cool. I'm going to be doing some IRL streams on the slopes as well. I'll be skiing in a couple days. So lots of fun stuff to look forward to. Make sure you're subscribed and all that. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.